He faces a rising China to the east and hostile Islamic forces to the south. But he tells his people that the biggest threat they face is from NATO. Some of our allies in Europe increasingly feel that our recent reset with Russia tended to ignore and in some cases undermine them. We need to re-energize and lead a united coalition with European nations to tackle issues ranging from missile defense to the continued enlargement of NATO. Furthermore, if we are successful in forming a Western Hemisphere energy coalition that takes advantage of the shale gas revolution, we will be able to help our European allies reduce their coerced dependence on Russian energy as well. A re-energized U.S.-European coalition can help empower those forces within Russia working to end corruption and open their political system. And if that happens, then we will be closer than ever to the bipartisan American vision, endorsed by both the Clinton administration and the Bush administrations, of a Europe whole and free. Now, faced with historic deficits and dangerous national debt, there's been increasing talk of reducing our foreign aid budget. But we need to remember that these international coalitions that we have the opportunity to lead are not just military ones. They can also be humanitarian ones. In every region of the world, we should always search for ways to use U.S. aid and humanitarian assistance to strengthen our influence, the effectiveness of our leadership, and the service of our interests and ideals. When done so effectively, in partnership with the private sector, with faith-based organizations, and with our allies, foreign aid is a very cost-effective way not only to export our values and our example, but to advance our security and our economic interests. One of the programs that I'm proudest of is the effort that began under President George W. Bush with robust congressional support and has continued under President Obama, and that's to combat AIDS in Africa. Millions of human beings are alive today because the United States and others in the global community are paying for their antiviral medication. This investment allows us to say, without any hint of exaggeration, that by 2015, the world could see the beginning of the end of AIDS, something that was unthinkable just a few years ago. We need to continue this kind of foreign aid investment, but not just in PEPFAR, but in malaria control, in vaccine programs, and in agriculture initiatives, so that we can make similar strides in preventing hunger and establishing a healthy global community. Now, this was by no means intended to be a comprehensive analysis of our challenges and opportunities around the world. After all, we could dedicate entire speeches to the emergence of functional states in Africa or the challenges posed by the Arab Spring. My purpose was not to catalog our interests in every corner of the planet. My purpose was to argue that the world is a better place because of America's engagement in it. And it will continue to get better only if we continue to engage. Now, I disagree with the way in which the current administration has chosen to engage. For while there are few global problems we can solve by ourselves, there are virtually no global problems that can be solved without us. In confronting the challenges of our time, there are more nations than ever capable of contributing. But there is still only one nation capable of leading. And I disagree with voices in my own party who argue that we should not engage at all, who warn that we should heed the words of John Quincy Adams, not to go abroad in search of monsters to destroy. I disagree because all around us, we see the human face of America's influence. It actually begins not with our government, but with our people. Millions of people have been the catalyst of democratic change in their own countries, but they never would have been able to connect with each other if an American had not invented Twitter. The atrocities of Joseph Kony would be largely unknown, but in fact, millions of people know about it because an American made a film and distributed on another American innovation, YouTube. And even in our military engagements, the lasting impact of our influence on the world is hard to ignore. Millions of people have emerged from poverty around the world, in part because our Navy protects the freedom of the seas, allowing the ever-increasing flow of goods between nations. And long after the last American soldier has left Afghanistan, God willing, there will be millions of strong, productive, and independent Afghan women, because today they are the first girls in generations to attend school, thanks to the generosity of the American people. We do these things because we're a compassionate people. But we also do it because it's in our national interest. Because perhaps more than any other nation on earth, we understand that a world that is freer, more just, more peaceful, and more prosperous poses less of a threat. Now look, I know this is a time of great uncertainty, a time when many wonder if America is in decline. When we felt less than confident about the future. We need to look no further than the decade of my birth for an example. In the 1970s, we experienced setbacks against communism in Asia, the collapse of trust in government, the oil shock, stagflation, high interest rates, Soviet expansion, the hostage crisis in Iran, and disco music. Americans were worried that something had permanently changed for our country. We couldn't be certain our standard of living would improve generation after generation, and even less certain that we could maintain America's primacy in world affairs. Then, as now, a serious school of thought emerged to confirm these worries, and it gained attention in our national debates. We had a nice run, but nothing lasts forever, the argument went. Our problems are too numerous, our resources too depleted, our economy too dependent on dying industries, our public institutions too inadaptable, and our rivals too potent for us to keep pace with, much less stay ahead of. And now, they said back then, the most important responsibility of public officials is to manage our decline intelligently and to mitigate its consequences at home and abroad. We know now, of course, that that's not how it turned out. By the end of the next decade, few were speculating about what the world would be like without America's leadership, because we were once again in a unique unipolar moment when American power and influence seemed virtually unchallenged. Well, now we're worried again, and that's understandable. The pace of change in the world is so fast, and the challenges we face are so numerous and serious that many Americans worry we can't sustain our way of life at home, much less maintain the burden of leading the world. The financial crisis, the steep drop in the value of our homes, a deep recession and excruciating slow recovery, high unemployment, stagnant wages, record budget deficits and public debt, a lack of confidence in the ability of our government and political system to solve problems, soaring energy prices, 2 long wars, new and complex threats to international peace and stability, and the rapid rise of China as an economic competitor and a rival for global influence. There are plenty of reasons to worry. And yet, with all these problems, there's absolutely no reason why America cannot remain a global superpower in this new century as well. We have a huge head start in dealing with the challenges of transforming. We have the advantage of concentrating more of our energies, resources, productivity, and innovation on figuring out the future. Our continued power is possible, but it is not self-perpetuating. It will require us to do what every generation of Americans before us has done: confront and solve the pressing domestic challenges of our time. It may not seem that way if you follow the daily news coming in from around the world, but this new century is a time of great promise. It is not the promise of a perfect world, not one without injustice, violence, conflict, hunger, or disease. It is the promise of a better world, better than the one we have today, better than the one we have ever known. A world where democratically elected leaders govern as responsible Democrats and avoid armed conflicts with their neighbors. A world where oppressing women or selling children is not culturally acceptable anywhere. A world where AIDS is a disease of history and starvation is no longer part of our future. A world of extraordinary innovation. The generations born since the spread of the World Wide Web are the most skilled collaborators ever. And now that everyone, everywhere, can talk to anyone, anywhere, at any time, they can talk to each other and come up with new ideas that are still unimaginable to us today. Above all else, the 21st century provides us the opportunity for more freedom. A world where more people are free to grow their economies, free to pursue their dreams, free to become prosperous. I left my last page of the speech. Does anybody have my last page? Did I leave it with you? I apologize. Above all else, the 21st century provides us the opportunities for more freedom. A world where more people are free, free to grow their economies, free to pursue their dreams, free to become more prosperous. This is the promise of this new century. But it will not happen if we're not engaged. It will not happen if we do not lead. Why does it have to start with us, some say? Why do we have to do it? We find our answer in the words of a non-American. This is why I needed this page. In an address to Congress in 2003, British Prime Minister Tony Blair said, this is a quote. You might have been there that day. His quote was, "I know it's hard on America. And in some small corner of this vast country, out in Nevada or Idaho or these places I've never been to but always wanted to go, I know out there's a guy getting on with his life, perfectly happy, minding his own business, saying to you, the political leaders of this country, why me? And why us? And why America?" And the only answer is because destiny puts you in this place in history, in this moment, in this time, and the task is yours to do. And so it is. For this century is a time of tremendous challenge, but it is also a time of tremendous promise. This is indeed the world America made, and it is freer and more prosperous than it has ever been. And it can be even better. As Americans, we cannot make that happen ourselves, but the world cannot make it happen without us. Thank you very much.